Hi folks, good morning. Hope you're all having a really great morning. I thought what I would do this morning is something I forgot to do when I finished up this tutorial on layering and showing some things on layering on the hot press paper. What I meant to do before this particular last tutorial was finished is show you how I take this that I've made into a block. It's actually just a watercolor pad. This one happens to be a hot press, but it doesn't make any difference whether it's hot press or cold press. And along, oops, I got a piece of paper under there. You know, this is the kind that it is, but that doesn't matter either. What I do is along the edges of the whole pad, I put Mod Podge. I let it dry. And then I take a very small, either a pencil or a pen, or I like the very small brushes, the sticks of the small ones. And I left, just like all blocks have, a little area right here. So I'm going to show you how, before I get into this next tutorial, I'm going to show you how I take this off. I've been wanting to do that and I kept forgetting. So come on down to the table and I'll show you what I did. Okay, so we're at the table, and here's the same thing that I just showed you. So over here on this side, I left a little tiny opening like the blocks have. You can see that there's a little opening there. Just enough to put my pen in. All this is dry around the sides. I let it dry. Then I just come in carefully, slide it along the edges. Isn't that awesome? Just slide it along all the edges that I glued. Do it very carefully so you don't rip the paper. And there we have a super nice, I'm going to take it off the pad, a super nice flat painting. It stayed nice and flat. It was on the block. It didn't move. I didn't have to worry about it at all. It works terrific. You should try it. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, what I'm doing here, I'm going to move all this, and I wanted to show you this cardstock that I got. I used to make cards, watercolor cards and acrylic cards. This is not exactly what I had thought I had bought. It's called cardstock, and it has like a really smooth finish. The paint does work on it. This is a different set. I have a couple of different sets, but it says cardstock. So anyway, one of these sets I had envelopes that go with them. These don't. So what I'm going to do for this is just take one of the pieces, and then I'm just going to set it down here. Move a few things out of the way. I actually want to show you a couple little things that I have tried along the way that work pretty cool. This is going to be using this cardstock. This can be, it's great for little cards to send to anybody. I mean, get well, hope, have a great day, birthday, Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, and the list goes on. They're just, actually, I don't know if it says the size of them or not. Let's see if it says it on here. Cardstock. Well, believe it or not, it does not say it, but I think it's like a 5x7. I'm going to show you a little something, and this can be, really make a cute card. I have a little bit of something different here, which are called gel pens. I actually made quite a few cards with these gel pens. I would have used my stencils that I used before, but I can't find them anywhere, so that's going to be that. So what we're going to do is show you a little bit how this little technique I'm going to do, and using some gel pens. I'm not going to worry about writing first, because I just want to make the words around the picture that what I want to focus on is this cool way. You've probably all heard of the one stroke, which was done, and it uses folk art paint, and it's just so much fun, and it's really pretty. Well, I'm going to mix, I think I have another tutorial on this as well, on this idea. I'm going to take acrylic white on one side. I have these little containers that I keep my acrylics separate from my watercolor. I'm going to put that in on one side of the brush. And because the red is so strong, I'm going to take red and put red on the other side of the brush, okay? So I've got one color on one side and one color on the other. And then as they would do in the one stroke, you go back and forth like this. Work the color into the brush. If you've ever done that, if you haven't, that's how you do it. And then we come up here. You're not going to see the white, and I just realized that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is also with the white, I'm going to add a little bit of, let's see, what color can I do with this to see it. Let's choose Indian yellow, and I'm going to work the Indian yellow into the white. Okay, then you'll be able to see it. I'm going to want the lighter color on the top, so you come here, you go like that, and because this paper is so smooth, look at that, it glides along and makes this pretty little flower. It's so pretty. You know, I just realized that this background of this tablecloth is kind of, I'm sorry, I'm going to, well, that would be white, so that wouldn't help either. Well, we'll just have to deal with it for today. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, I'm going to grab more of the red and more of the Indian yellow and work it in on my palette. Come over here and do a different type. This is the Cabbage Patch. And then you wiggle that part, and then you wiggle. It's kind of like using the tip and then the side. I can't seem to get enough of that Indian yellow. Okay, let's try it again. So I've set it down like this, and then lay it down on its side and wiggle like that. If this was not white paper, you would see it a little bit better, but it is white. I wanted to try it and see with you what would happen, so we're trying it together. What I've done in the past is when I had white paper, I wanted to see how well that would continue on. I tried it earlier, but now that I have some color on there, I'm actually going to do something. I'm going to add some white onto one end. I'm going to work that in. I'm going to come back here. Whoops. Okay, and I'm going to do this again on top of what I have. You know what it works the best on? It works the best on black paper. But, you know, you can make this work. I'm going to put, let's see, what would go with that? I'm going to take some blue on one side, mauve on the other. That should make two very pretty colors, purple and blue. And then we're just going to, oh, that's pretty, okay. It almost looks like a shell is what it looks like. So the end down, and you just wiggle it around. So this is a real slippery, shiny paper. So obviously it's not going to work very well, depending on what you want it to do. I mean, you know, you may just absolutely love it, just like it is, and use it just like it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try the yellow. Let's see. I'm going to try a dark color. So I'm going to take some burnt sienna and that Indian yellow, and we're going to work that in together. The brush, normally they would use a medium, and I'm only using water just to show you the little bit of things that you can do in art. So let's do that other kind. See, the Indian yellow really shows up. That would be a rosebud, the Cabbage Patch rosebud. And then we can just sort of do this if we want. If we wanted to, we can get some more of that Indian yellow on there. Whoop, okay, I'm gonna have to wash it off because I want one side one color and one side another color. So we'll go back into that and we'll go back into this and we'll work it in again. You can see that it's wet, okay? So you can see that. Let's see, we can do this. It's a cardstock. So that, way does work. Now, if we just wanted to do regular painting, okay, we don't need the Cabbage Patch type of way. Let's take, all right, let's take a round brush. Actually, we're going to take this cat's tongue brush, this size cat's tongue. I have no idea where they get that, except I guess they think that looks like a cat's tongue. But so I'm not sure how this is going to work, so we're trying this out together. So I'm going to wet a little area right here. I'm not sure it's going to work because I don't think it's going to soak in. But let's just take, no, see what happens is there's no soaking in, but there's another thing that happens instead. It's sort of, it just kind of out. All right, so now without wetting it, getting some paint on our brush. I love these trial things. Tip down like this. Tip down, pull up, tip down, tip down. So see, I can actually do it. It's not really, it puddles in areas, see, because it's not watercolor paper. It's just cardstock. But it all depends until you actually try something, take it out and try it and see what in the world's going on. It's just, to me, it's super fun to just do that. Okay, so I'm going to take some of these colors I've got on my palette here. I'm going to try on the side of this brush, on this cardstock. See what happens when I do this type of thing. This is with hardly no water at all. Right? Hardly no water. So it's not moving. It's not moving at all. But once this one is dry, I'll bet, I'm sure, that we can go into a color with mostly just the paint, not the, yeah, see? And we can layer on top of that one with these little strokes. So you can layer. We'll do this here. Both of these are almost dry. So we're getting layering, and this works for that. It doesn't soak in very well. It does soak in, but not the same as watercolor paper. But it does soak in. We can come back up here, and now this is practically dry, and we can layer on top. See? So we're doing something of a trial together. And I'm not going to be doing what I thought I would for the, it's not going to work enough to do anything else. The gel pens will work. They go on here nicely. If I wanted to write the word hope, make my own little stenciling here. Not that I'm very good at it, but, and you can color it in. This paper allows you to do that. In fact, I think I did many cards like that way back. It's just a real different kind of paper. It's, I don't know, cardstock. But these pens don't work all that well once you get going. It's like they kind of, let's try another color. I remember this from before. All right. Some of the gel pens work a little bit better than the others. This one works a little bit better. I'm really doing a fast thing here. But this is very different for these purposes. It's not really, as you can see, it's probably not very watercolor friendly. It does work with these gel pens, and I'm sure it would work with any other pen pretty much the same way. The Cabbage Patch, it didn't work too good. I mean, the Cabbage one stroke, it didn't do very well, but watch this. It's dry now. That's dry. Take a flat brush. Now that I have some color down there, which I used to actually paint white watercolor paper first with acrylic paint or mixed media paper, and then I would do the one stroke on top of that to use up my white paper, and that works fine. So I'm going to go in here again, and I'm going to get the white and the red together and blend them on the palette. I've got some, this white is acrylic white, just so it will stand out. I'm going to go right over what I've already done here. A little more white. And come here and do the same thing right over. Long as it's dry, you're fine. Just gotta make sure that bottom layer is dry before you go over it. So maybe make another layer. See, it's gonna be a little different than working with, it is a little different than working with watercolor paper or mixed media paper or any of that. So as you can see, all that, you know, happens and works. On the dry, with it dry and some nice, fairly dry paints, it works really well. So that's how that works there. Again, I can use the top that has some white, and it'll become variegated, right? So you'll have some, which is a great way to do things with the, you know, colors. So you can do that. So anyway, I just wanted to experiment. I just happened to find it in my, another thing to tell you, I'm sorry, before I finish that sentence. Wipe your palette off because I had acrylic white, and acrylic paints dry very just hard, so they're like plastic. So because I mixed things on my palette here, I want to make sure that I take, not only do I want to wash my brush really well to get all that paint out because it has some white acrylic in it, I want to also do that with my palette. So we're going to several times go in the water, swish it around several times, wipe it off till you don't have any color. Form it, because I like to do that to keep the brush as best as I can. They say, which I'm going to try today at some point, to use almost boiling water, not boiling water, but very hot like boiling water, and form them again that way. Kind of supposed to help the bristles come back to the beginning of what they were. So anyway, another interesting little video. Also, I wanted to show you the back side is the same stuff. It's just real waxy kind of finish. It's cardstock. So actually, I think these types of papers would go into printers and things. So without using hardly any water, the lesson of this, without using hardly any water, it works the best. It doesn't soak well, so it just works best, and you can paint whatever you want. You can use the watery wash, but it's just going to kind of whoosh like that, which is fine for the very underneath, as you can see, because I could just keep going layers on layers on top of here that have very little water, such as these. But we also took that first wet wash, let it dry, and then we did another Cabbage Patch on top of that, and I could do it again and again and again, as many times as I want. So anyway, that was the thing for today. Thanks for trying out this little experiment with me. Check out some other tutorials, and have a great rest of your day. Bye for now, folks.